The harshest truth every young man must eventually learn is that everyone was always rooting for you. Your parents want you to be a great son. Your wife wants you to be a great husband. Your boss wants you to be a slam dunk hire. Every first date you've ever been on, they've been rooting for you to get laid. Every time you started to tell a joke, people hoped it would have a hilarious punchline. Your proximity to anyone is a reflection of themselves, meaning the deck is never stacked against you, and your failures are completely your own.
And so people who are most successful, a lot of times, it's not that they necessarily have more willpower. They find other ways to reward themselves. And so he's like, the more skills you have, the more ways you have to reward yourself. And so somebody can extend how long their time horizon is because they do gamify it. So people who don't have the skills of figuring out ways to reward themselves in the meantime can't make it the whole way. But that's like when you're doing cardio and you're like, okay, it's 5 times 5 to get out of here, right? You create micro games within the longer game to keep yourself going. And the thing is, I've seen that across verticals. So like if you look at, so Travis Mash is a Olympic lifting coach out of North Carolina. And he has this really cool way of getting lifters to PR every workout, to have a personal record every workout. And what he does is he have them map every single set and rep range for every single lift at every weight. And so what happens is all you have to do is go through your book of 200 lifts and every single weight, and you can always find one that you did a year ago. They get excited because they get rewarded every workout. And so that's why it's like the more ways you track, the more ways you can win. And then I think that's those little micro wins can keep you going over the long game that you have to just keep playing.
I think there's a lot of power in knowing that you're doing every single thing you possibly can to win. Because if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I have controlled the controllable. I think there's some level entirely. The controllable, not the uncontrollable. Those things can happen. I could do my book launch and there can be a lightning strike and there can be no power in Vegas. That can happen. But in the event that happens, if you leave it all in the field, if you have nothing left in the tank, I don't think there's a feeling that's more satisfying as a man than knowing that you've given everything that you had to give to an endeavor that you deemed meaningful. And so Layla and I have this thing that we say a lot, but a man must have a quest. And I just really, really like that. It's like you need to do something. You need to go towards something. And your quest could be being the best father. It could be being the best musician or the best podcaster or the best businessman or the best tire replacer or the best sweeper. Whatever it is. But like I think being questless, being aimless, and never being able to use the violence that you are capable of in the pursuit of an endeavor that you find meaningful is where people find themselves lost and without hope, because hopelessness comes from a perceived lack of options. We don't know what to do. Anxiety comes from many options, but no priorities. And so there's many things to do, but we aren't sure which one. And so a quest remedies both of those because you have one path that you're clear on, and you know the only thing that you have left to do is destroy everything in your path to getting to where you want to go. Those are the things that we have to march triumphantly towards. And I think having someone in your corner who believes in that better version of you is one of the rarest gifts that you can have in life. And there's a line from 300 that I love. The Queen says to Leonidas, she says, come back with your shield or on it. And I think that we all want a spouse or a partner who can reward us for the good fight, because what that Queen is saying in that moment is not like, I want you to win. She's like, I want you to die trying. So, and I think that's like all to be fair, that's literally all we will do is die trying. All of us will die trying. And I think, all of us will die. Some of us will die trying.
It is an unwritten rule of life that after every prolonged period of hardship and uncertainty, there is going to be a period where you achieve quantum leaps across multiple areas of your life. The only requirement is that you do not give up on yourself.
Failure and success are on the same road. It's just that failure is an earlier exit. This is the meta frame of the story that we one day tell. Like we tell stories of what type of person we are all day long when we're confronted with different decisions. What type of person am I? And I would like to be known to myself as a fighter, is that I'm willing to fight for what I want and for what I believe in. And I think that is why I think I would want to have courage to be the one thing that is transferred.
If you're going through that right now, and I promise you, every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through. And it's the lonely chapter. It's the chapter where you don't fit in with your own friends, but you don't have the outcomes yet to fit into a new group of friends. And you're doing this thing, you're consuming content on the internet, you're doing these free tutorials online to try and figure out how to set up a podcast and where do I host this thing? And you're going through this and you're like, is this even worth it? Because you have no signs of success, right? But if there's anything that you can take away from what we're saying right now, is that the sign of success is the hate that you get along the way. And what you can't do is bend the knee to their hate and fit back into the conformity because it's comfortable and it's warm. Because like in the Matrix, when Trinity opens the door, when Neo's about to go take the red pill and he wants to get out of the car, she says, Neo, you've been down that road and you know exactly where it leads. And I know that's not where you want to be. And then he closes the door. Like right now, this moment that you're going through is Trinity opening the door and being like, you could go back, but then you'd have to remember exactly what the reason was that you decided not to go out to begin with, just because you listen to this podcast and you consume this content, and you're like, I can fucking do more than this. Like, because you are starting to live in some of that hell where you look in the mirror and you're like, I can do more. And you start to see the person that you could be. And you're like, this does start to feel like hell. Every position has advantages and disadvantages. And a lot of people look at the really big guys and they're like, man, they'll look at me, they're like, must be easy for Alex, right? And I remember when we had gym launch and we had a very big company, I would tell the guys who were coming up, I was like, if you're trying to compete against me, I was like, you have advantages. I was like, if you're on a sales call, you're like, listen, you're just a number to Alex. You're never going to talk to Alex, right? Here with me, you're going to get my attention. I'm the one, right? I was like, that's how you're going to throw stones at me. I was like, but on the flip side, if it's me marketing to the masses, I'm going to be like, this kid's in his mom's basement. He has no idea what he's doing. He's been in business for 12 months. And of course he has no idea. Like, wouldn't you want somebody who has thousands of success stories behind it because we've made a system? Like, both sides have advantages. And so what happens is you can take lots of risks very quickly and end up in the exact same position you are, which is nothing. And so if you eliminate downside, it should decrease your action threshold, meaning you should be able to do more things faster rather than do fewer things because you don't have a great life or things going for you. And so I think if people flip that, a lot more people would take action because they actually realize the advantage of their position.
Like, you can change your stars. Like, I was not the type of person who does the types of things that I do now then. And I retell those stories. I don't talk about them as much because honestly, I blocked most of them out because I was in so much pain during that period of my life. And the reason that I'm willing to keep making content and write books and all that stuff is because I know that there is another person who is going through a similar chapter and worried if they are sane or if it is only them, and it is not. And so, like, you can't compare yourself to people who are different chapters. You just have to believe that you can change incrementally, one behavior at a time over an extended period of time, and that those changes will aggregate, that they will stack up. Because like, we don't know what the last chapter is going to look like. We only know what the next page does, and we get to write that today. And like, I was so driven by fear. I was so afraid of everything during that chapter. And so it was like, other people's opinions. What if I fail? What if this doesn't work out? What if people make fun of me? Like, I had all this fear around it. And like, the emotionality that I have now towards it is because of a mix of pity and pride that I have for that young man, the young Alex that was going through that, because I'm proud that I made it through that, but I also pity the amount of pain that I was going through to make that jump. And so I don't know who's listening, but like, fear can be useful if you know that you were driven by fear to some degree. And in some ways, it's almost shameful to say it, because it was the reason that the word that I never want to have used described for me is cowardly, is because I behaved like a coward. I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of my dad's judgment. I was afraid of everything. And the flip that made it for me was just using that fear against something bigger, was that I was more afraid of looking back on my life and never having tried. And I knew that would be so empty, and I would be so filled with regret, and that I knew that I would beat myself up over it every single day as I got older, that existence was more terrifying to me than the practical consequences of me taking a step where I would fail. And it's very easy for me to say now to you or anyone who's listening, like, of course the downside's not that big, you'll just sleep on a friend's couch, whatever. But at the time for me, it was everything. And it was all of the status that I had spent all of my time trying to accumulate. I was president of this, president of that. I'd done all the good grades. I had a good job on paper. And so whatever fuel you have, whether it's anger, whether it's shame, whether it's fear, even if you have all of them, like, if you know you have them, try and put them behind you to to get you to run away from it. If it's right now, it's in front of you and it's preventing you from taking the next step. And so it's like, if you can just put it behind you so that you're running away from this future, it's like run harder away from the future that your current path is taking you towards that you're afraid of than the short-term path that running away from it is going to run you into. It's like you either have to be, it's like you can either fear the whip of the person behind you or the enemy in front of you, and the direction you face is the one that you fear the least. And so if you know that there's an enemy in front of you and a whip behind you, it's like you just need to, in the short term, increase the pain of the one that you want least. I mean, the hardest loss that I had to take was the boy that I was in my father's eyes that was living up to his expectations, which is all that I wanted. And so sacrificing that, and it took years, and my dad and I are cool, we're great, but like for a season, that's what I had to sacrifice that person. And it was, all I had wanted was to make him happy. And so, and again, no fault of his own, but that is all I wanted. And so it's like I had achieved the dreams that I had as a younger man, and in so doing, it had become my nightmare. And no one is coming to save you. Everything is your fault, and you have to sacrifice who you are for who you want to become. I think is so real for me is that you do. And like someone's dreams will die. It is yours or theirs. So you just want to make sure that the person who is dreaming for you has bigger dreams for life than you do. And sometimes well-intentioned people, because they want to be practical and they want to be realistic, have smaller dreams for you than you do. And if they have smaller dreams, then you should listen to you and not them. I have a lot of live translation that I think I've wired into being able to handle some things that were difficult, which is like, I pretty much translate all hate into you live your life against my preferences. And so whenever they're saying all of these things of like, no, you don't have to go to the gym, we were doing this other thing, it's just saying you're living your life in a way that's against my preferences. You're valuing things that I don't value. And you're like, you're right. And so it doesn't mean like, we don't need to have the same values, at least in the short term. And I think just accepting that that is okay and that you can still be friends, at least in the short term, is fine. And what they're really trying to do is get you to comply with their way of living, because maybe, not always, when you live in accordance with your new values and new preferences, it brings into sharp contrast how they are not living in accordance to theirs. I was asked, if you could transfer only one trait to your son, what would it be? And I really thought a lot about it. And I was like, all the traits, what would I transfer? And I think it's courage. Because if you don't have courage, nothing else matters. Like you can't take any action. You can't do anything worth doing. You can't stand for anything because you have no courage. And so I think that's why it's so much more preferable to be a failure than a coward. And I think that I would hope that I could transfer just that lesson and try and reinforce as many times as I can in his upbringing that like, you have to take jumps and you have to lose and you have to be willing to lose, and then realize that losing doesn't actually make you a loser, because losing is the first signal on the path to winning. But like not playing is the actual signal for a forever loss.
What is courage to you?
Being willing to take action where there's a large short-term cost with an uncertain delayed benefit. So if you want to start a business and you think that you're going to get made fun of or snide remarks or like, oh yeah, you're doing your podcast thing again. Oh yeah, don't miss out, right? Don't want to miss Friday night because it's your big podcast. You're going to suffer that short term. That's a known cost. And then the payoff is delayed and uncertain. Like not only will it come later, if it were guaranteed, if you knew you were going to make $1 million doing a podcast, then you'd be like, whatever, fuck it. Like it takes significantly less courage. But I think it's the fact that it is unknown and delayed. So you basically have to be willing to get kicked in the nuts, and multiple times, and sometimes for extended durations, before the hope that you will get something. But I think the only way to get through that kind of kicked in the nuts period for however long it's going to be, is realizing that you have two paths. One that is guaranteed, which is that the path you're currently on will not get you where you want to go. And the other path, it is not guaranteed to get you where you want to go, but it's the only one where you have a shot where you do. It means that the path to exceptionalism is lonely, and loneliness is something that we decry as a society, that there's something wrong with it, there's something bad, there's something wrong with you if many people disagree with you. But success and pursuit of large endeavors is one of those few domains where everyone disagreeing with you is a signal that you are actually doing something different. Now, sometimes you doing something different is the wrong move. I think Larry Ellison said this. He said, if everyone thinks your idea is stupid, either they're right or you're right. And if you're right, then you're likely to make a lot of money. I'm loosely paraphrasing, but basically it's like we have to be willing to do exceptional things in isolation and deal with the pain of rejection. And some of rejection isn't people saying, no, I don't want to buy from you. Some of rejection is people just rejecting your behavior, rejecting who you're becoming, rejecting the choices that you're making. And I think that rejection oftentimes is harder because it often surfaces as snide remarks, jokes that are demeaning, that have a little bit too much edge to them, like a little bit too much truth.
Or even just being excluded, a more silent version of that, not commission, but omission.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we won't invite them out.
Yeah.
Oh, you turned up to squash practice. I didn't know it was on. I just thought that, I don't know, do you guys not tell me? Oh, yeah, well, all right, come on, join.
Yeah, those moments, and I think those moments are very painful, but you trade those moments for the many moments when you're at home, alone, looking at your life around you and saying, this is not what I want.
I don't want to be here.
Right. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be who I am.
And I don't want to be there with them either.
Right. And so it's no man's land. And I think that is like the beginning of the metamorphosis. It's the beginning of the transformation.
The world will reward you in proportion to your courage, not your intellect. The most dangerous person in the world is the one who continues to show up every day, even when the rewards are not guaranteed. Your potential is determined by the amount of uncertainty you're able to tolerate and how long you can tolerate it for. You can beat 99% of people if you can master the shame of rejection, the boredom of repetition, and the pain of feedback. If you're nervous, do more. It's hard to be nervous when you've practiced the same thing 1,000 times in a row. When in doubt, stack reps. Anything you start, you will suck at. It will be embarrassing, but you will survive. Then you will realize that looking like a fool lasts a moment. Being one that never started lasts a lifetime.
I think people wildly underestimate the value of accumulating significant enough volume that it's no longer something that you have a reaction to. So you desensitize yourself to it. And so, like, for example,
exposure therapy.
And so if you give a speech and you're nervous about the speech, if you do it enough times that you are bored of doing it, that you are sick of the presentation, you're probably ready.
The average person will always try to keep you average. It makes sense that if you want to be extraordinary, you will do things that an ordinary person would see as extra. This is the really hard part that I had to come to terms with. It's that a lot of people want to see you fail because it justifies the risks that they chose not to take. We always have to think about listening to the people who are closest to our goals, not closest to us.
Yearn for the approval of many people who don't have lives that we want. And so if they have a specific life, then it means that that is what they think is valuable. And if we don't want what they have, then why would we value their weight on our decisions? And so it's like you have this, they're like, we have this mold that is my life. Your life no longer fits my mold. And you're like, right, I don't like the pot that mold makes. And so somehow when people state the obvious, which is that you are living your life against my preferences, we somehow feel like that needs to change because when we're younger and growing up,
we can't leave.
Yeah, you can't leave, and you do need to live your life according to your parents' preferences, your teachers' preferences, your classmates' preferences, your principal's preferences. But when you get older, you do have to break the mold and decide what mold you want. And in so doing, you will be against their preferences. And if the vast majority of people have a life that you don't want, then you're going to do things that the vast majority of people don't agree with.
Everything that they feel like they have to lose is purely made up in their mind. It's stories they tell themselves about what other people are going to think about them when those people aren't even thinking about them to begin with, right? But like that's where they live all of their lives or live out all of the potential downside is in the mere reflection of what other people will think about them in the future should they fail. Shame only exists in the shadows. I think a couple frames that are just different frames around content making since we're on the topic that helped me was one is seeing it as practice rather than the game. So like when we're doing a podcast, if you start, you're like, hey, I'm going to do a podcast, I'm going to post it. It's practice for me getting better for future me, rather than like, I am like, this is the main game. It's like, no, the game is the whole thing. And this is just like, we're still in preseason.
Yep.
Like these scores, these touchdowns don't even matter yet, right? Now you can say yet, even though like I can still feel like I'm in preseason, but I think from a mental framework, it actually decreases the stakes associated with doing it. And I think that's been helpful for me, especially it was in the earlier days. Like if you track 100 stats, then you only need one of them to go up so you feel like you made some progress. So that's like an easy one. And the second thing around the tracking is that I would look at like the biggest possible number. So a lot of times you can see like the impressions of, you know, a post that you make. Even if you only got like 16 likes, I got like 100 impressions. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, if there was a room of 100 people, I'd be stoked. Like that would be awesome. Especially in the early days, I was like, I would totally feel like that was worthwhile. And so taking those little impression numbers and pretending that they were like micro events that I was making the work or the content for all of a sudden made it feel worth it for me. And so the combination of I can have a small room and I'm really impacting, like when I get a view that has like 13 views on it, for like a video in the early days, I'd be like, well, shoot, I made this video and 13 people saw it. It's like a small room, like that works. But looking at both absolute growth and relative growth. So it's like, okay, well, I went from 10 followers this month to 15 followers this month. It's like, well, you can say that you only gained 5 followers. I was like, or you can say that you went up by 50%. And that was exciting. If we keep doing what we're currently doing at this trajectory, we compound at 13% a month.
Yep.
That's what it is right now. So 13% monthly, and that's just on one of the platforms we're on. And so I can just see what we're going to be at 6 months. And that's exciting.
If you're going to chase a dream, go all in. If you're going to love fiercely. If you're going to walk away, never look back. So many people never even give themselves a fighting chance because they never fully commit. If you're going to go all the way. The amount of doubt that you have to endure when doing this for the first time, when nobody around you understands what you're trying to do, when you're actively being discouraged from making changes and you have no promise of glory or success on the other side of it, is one of the most perfect cocktails of pain and discomfort that you can go through.
And this happens on every mountain. So it happens on your first mountain and it happens on your second mountain. Like if you've achieved some level of success that everyone around you deems as successful enough by their standards, not yours, when you pursue the next summit, all of it begins again. The machine begins again.
I actually think that for a lot of people, the first big lonely chapter that they will feel will be after their first success. Because for a lot of people, the first success is done within the frame that they're already inside of. They get to the top of it and realize it wasn't what they wanted. And then some people decide to go back down. Maybe some people don't need to go up the first mountain to realize they're somewhere they don't want to be. But for a lot of people, especially people that are driven and push toward excellence, I think they actually have to get there within, this was my story, right? Getting one of the biggest events companies in the UK, running an organization that is cool and fun, and I got to define, and I was the boss and everybody knew me, and there's some wealth and some status and some freedom, and there's girls. Everybody's telling me that this is something that I should be happy about and satisfied with. And for some reason, it didn't feel right. And the only way to try and find something new is to let go of something that everybody else is telling you is something that you should want.
Local maximums. And it's like the furthest up they can see up the mountain. And then when you get to that new local maximum, you have a different perception than they do, and you can see the next peak and they can't. I mean, rejection hurts, failing hurts. And I think when you give it your all, and then the market, society, the universe, whatever, determines that you are still not enough, that is very painful. I think that in time, you learn that feedback is fuel rather than failure. Like losing is good, and feeling bad about losing is good because it forces you to change. And that change means that over time, as long as you're changing in the correct direction, you get better.
Or else you would continue to do the strategy that caused you to lose last time, and you would just run it back again.
And this is why I have this, I thought on the way over here, I was thinking about this. And I think one of the big losses or failures of society right now is that we are trying to castrate the teeth from the pain of loss. We're trying to not allow kids, people, the feeling to feel bad. It's like we have determined that feeling bad is bad, but feeling bad is not bad. Feeling bad is a signal so that we need to change. Because if no one feels bad ever, then it means that everyone is doing what they want to do all the time, and that is not how a functioning society works. Sometimes people do stupid shit and need to know and feel bad for it.
Eventually, reality is going to come into contact with your decisions.
Yes.
And the more that that's put off, the less likely you are to come up with a way to avoid that reality coming into reality.
And so the way that, right now what's going, and this is probably the more frightening part about some of the media that's out there, is like trying to just redefine reality and create a fantasy where you losing and you feeling bad isn't true. But it doesn't change reality. It just changes someone's perception of it for the short term, and then they have to pay reality back with interest and time. And the check always comes due. It's just the interest is much bigger. And I think the biggest issue there is because we expect our dreams to be accomplished faster and easier and risk-free, when it will be hard, take a long time, and we will sacrifice more things than we expected. And I think one of the hardest parts about accomplishing big things is that the cost is unknown. So even though it is more than you're giving up some stuff, but you still don't even know everything that you're going to give up.
It's like running a race and not knowing how long it is.
100%.
I don't know where the finish line is.
Yeah. And what's fascinating about that is that if you know where the finish line is, you can usually handle just about anything.
That's why Uber works.
Yeah.
That's the main reason. Yeah, you can order a cab from anywhere and you don't need to work out the local taxi number and stuff. The main reason why it works is you know how far away the car is. I know how long this wait is. Remember in the before times, just ring a cab and it would just arrive at some point.
I remember one of the most important personal moments that I had was when I lost everything for the first time. I screenshot my bank account. So I went from having, 6 successful gyms to losing all of it and having $1,000 to my name. And I remember looking at my bank account and I was like, wow, that's what the bottom of the barrel looks like. That is, and I hadn't, seen a number that low in a very, very, very long time. Even in high school, I had more than that, just because I had jobs and I didn't have expenses. And so I screenshotted it, and it was this very cathartic moment for me because I was like, never again. Like, I will not let this happen. And I will have this be part of the story I tell. And I still have that screenshot.
I've seen it.
And I show it because, so basically, you want to document it because you believe that you will be the hero that will overcome. And I think that if you can really just grasp it, like just beginning the documentation story, like even the fact that Kanye had some of those early videos, it's like he believed that he would make it and he believed he would use it. And so I think one of the greatest things you can do is, and it was almost like at that point, like I believed when I took that screenshot that I was going to win, and I did believe I was going to get it back. And so the earlier you can have that realization that like, I have to document this monster, otherwise I won't be able to tell the story. And the story, the receiver of that story, biggest beneficiary of that story is you.